Hey, welcome to the Title Tower podcast. I believe this is our third podcast episode. We missed it last week because we were both pretty busy with schoolwork and stuff. So yeah, let's hop into it.
Yeah.
We're gonna do predictions to start, and then we'll talk about NBA offseason. So, first game of the week was Texans Lions. I had the Lions winning. What about you?
I had the Texans. Also, we're just gonna not talk about it to save time, so we can talk more about the offseason, just so you guys know.
Okay. Next game was Washington versus the Cowboys. I had Washington winning.
I had the Cowboys.
Okay. Chargers versus Bills. I'm gonna say the Bills win just because of the Chargers are unlucky.
Yep, I'm gonna go with the Bills too.
Okay. Titans versus Colts again. Okay, I'm gonna go with the Colts.
I'm gonna say the Titans win this time.
Okay, Panthers versus Vikings. Is Teddy Bridgewater back?
I'm not positive actually. I know that McCaffrey's not playing though.
If PJ Walker's in, I'm gonna go Panthers. If Teddy Bridgewater's in, I'm gonna go Vikings.
That's so Walker over Bridgewater. Okay, that's interesting. I disagree with that, but I'm gonna go with the Vikings either way.
Okay. Browns versus Jaguars. I'm gonna go Browns.
Yeah, Browns.
Giants versus Bengals. I'm gonna say the Giants for sure.
I would have said the Bengals if Burrow is playing, but since he's not, I'm gonna say Giants.
Okay, Cardinals Patriots. I'm gonna say Cardinals.
Yeah, as a Patriots fan, it sucks, but I'm also gonna say Cardinals.
Dolphins versus Jets. I'm gonna go with Dolphins, even though Tua had a rough week.
Yeah, Dolphins.
Raiders Falcons. I'm gonna go Raiders. Falcons are unlucky.
I think it could be an upset. I'm gonna go with the Raiders. It could be close though.
Saints versus Broncos. I'm gonna say Saints because obviously the quarterback situation.
Yeah, even if that wasn't the case, it would still be Saints, but they should blow the Broncos out.
49ers Rams. I'm gonna go Rams. I like the Rams this year.
Yeah, I'm also gonna go with the Rams there.
Chiefs versus Bucks. Chiefs. The Bucks are gonna get crushed.
I'm actually gonna go with the Bucks, and I know he disagreed, but our goal is to talk about the NBA offseason, so let's just move on to the next game.
Okay, Bears Packers.
Yeah, I'm also picking the Packers there.
Seahawks Eagles. Seahawks.
Yep.
Steelers. I'm gonna go Steelers.
Even though Lamar's not playing, I'm gonna say the Ravens get a huge upset here, because 6-5 is a bad look for them. So I'm going Ravens here.
Okay, that's it.
So let's jump into the offseason. Yeah.
Okay. Did bring up a certain player, right, that you thought that was nice?
Well, it's been an interesting offseason so far. A lot has happened. It's like we're starting to figure out what the NBA is going to look like next year. Some teams have gotten a lot better. Some have gotten worse. Let's start off with the Lakers. I think it's clear that they were the best team last year, and they've gotten better. They added in Montrezl Harrell and Dennis Schroeder, so now they have the third and fourth best player, and they also re-signed Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. They signed Wesley Matthews. They're gonna be finalizing a big deal with Anthony Davis probably any day now. They did lose JaVale McGee. They also lost Rondo, Avery Bradley. So they lost some players, but I don't think there's any. What, Jimmy?
They lost Dwight Howard too.
Yeah, they also lost Dwight Howard. I don't think there's any. Oh yeah, and they also got Marc Gasol. So I think they got better this year, and right now they definitely be my pick to win the championship this year. But it's not like they're a super team, but they're definitely my pick though to win the championship.
No, yeah, they're definitely my pick as well. But you know, I have to disagree with you on some certain points. You know.
Okay.
I also have so I think that the Lakers are going to start Gasol over Harrell.
I agree with you.
I don't think they should.
I think that they should because I think Harrell's a better player, but I just think that he's also better coming off the bench, and Gasol is better as a starter.
The thing is that lost Dwight Howard was getting bounds and playing well with LeBron and AD and like not trying to do too much and get in the way.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that this is going to get in the way necessarily, but he is going to get more shots than Dwight Howard would have taken. I think Montrezl Harrell's a better fit in the starting lineup because he's not going to take as many shots and he's going to move around the ball more and get rebounds like Dwight Howard did.
I mean, if this was a Marc Gasol when he was on the Grizzlies, I'd agree with you. But if you saw what he did last year, I don't even know if he averaged 10 points per game. Basically, his purpose at this point in his career is to be a leader. Last year for the Raptors, he was a leader, and he took a few shots, but not many. He played good defense. He got rebounds. But I think that at this point in his career, it's really just about being a leader who has a lot of experience. So I think that he'd be a good fit in their starting lineup there.
I like the sign of Wesley Matthews.
Yeah.
However, I disagree with them giving Caldwell Pope that much money for that many years.
Yeah.
I think they should have brought Rondo back instead of getting Paul. Or what they could do. This is what the Bucks do is they get a lot of good shooters around
Giannis.
Which work. So I think they should have signed a shooting guard who's better at shooting.
Yeah, I mean they tried to trade for Bogdanovic, which ended up falling apart. That Drew Holiday thing though, I think that was really interesting because here's my thinking on it. So Holiday is a great player. I'd say he's a little bit worse than Middleton, but around the same level. So I think the Bucks are thinking we have to be really good this year so that Giannis stays. And if it works, then that's great for them. They're gonna have a good team for a long time. But if what they do isn't enough and Giannis decides to leave, then they're in an absolutely horrible position because they traded a bunch of draft picks, and if they have a team with Middleton and Drew Holiday, maybe they make it to the playoffs, but they're not getting out of the first round, and they lost a bunch of picks. So they'd be in a horrible position if Giannis leaves. So they took a huge risk with that Drew Holiday trade, but if you're a Bucks fan, you gotta hope that works out.
I think they're trying to do new things and get away from what they've been doing because clearly what they've been doing hasn't worked in the playoffs and they need a star. So they went out and got Drew Holiday. It cost them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And truth be told, Giannis is not fond of the Bucks right now. And especially if they lose the playoffs, he might switch teams, which I'm thinking will happen.
Yeah.
And Drew Holiday, he's a great player. In the past, though, they've gone after players that can shoot. And Drew Holiday, I wouldn't say he's great at shooting. I'd say he's better at defending. And I think they're striving more towards defense now.
They definitely have an elite defensive team between Giannis, Holiday, Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton. They have elite defenders. They also basically replaced their whole bench unit with just other bench players. They signed DJ Augustine and Bobby Portis, and yeah, I think there may have been. Oh yeah, also they drafted Jordan Nwora, who could be a part of their bench unit. I think there might be some other players who I'm forgetting, but I don't think that they had a bad offseason, but they just have to really hope that they can do enough to make Giannis want to stay, because if they don't, then they're in bad shape.
Yeah, it's tough to fill Giannis's shoes. So another move, obviously, was, the Clippers lost. Who's the Clippers center? Or no, they had Zubac starting.
Yeah, I mean they lost Montrezl Harrell, and
right.
They also lost some other key players. They lost Landry Shamet in a trade for Luke Kennard. Reggie Jackson is still a free agent, so they didn't bring him back. And then they also lost JaMychal Green, who is a part of their bench unit.
But yeah, I like them signing Serge Ibaka. I think
he's going
to work with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, obviously. I think, Ibaka's a really good defender, and although people don't look at this spot of his game as much, he is a fairly good three-point shooter.
He is. I mean, Ibaka is just a very, very good player. I think he's the kind of guy that pretty much anyone would want to have. Like, he's not going to be an all-star, but he's probably going to come off the bench for the Clippers and have that Harrell role, except the difference between him and Harrell, I mean, yeah, Harrell brings that energy, but Ibaka is a better defender and a better shooter. So I think that they had an improvement there.
Yeah, he's definitely underrated. Do you have any other moves to talk about?
Well, let's think. I mean, there's a lot that happened in the offseason. I think one of the only contenders that got worse this offseason was the Raptors. They did re-sign Van Vliet, but they lost Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol and Rondae Hollis-Jefferson. So I think the Raptors, I actually did like that draft pick of Malachi Flynn from San Diego State. I think he could end up being pretty good. But overall, they're one of the only contenders that got worse this offseason. So it could be a rough season for them.
We're forgetting a huge one. Chris Paul to the Suns
Yeah.
out of nowhere. I was so psyched for him.
Yeah.
Chris Paul's a great player. He's old. I'd say he and Serge Ibaka are old players that are underrated in the NBA. I think the Suns will have instant success with Chris Paul because he has a young core around him, and Devin Booker showed in the bubble that the Suns can be a contender with another star player, and they went out and got Chris Paul. So I think it's a great move.
I mean, I love the fit for him on the Suns. I don't know if I'd say they're a championship contender. They're definitely a good team, though. I also like them picking Jalen Smith, though. That was a good pick. But the West is interesting, though, because there's 9 teams that would normally probably be top 5 teams, and one of them's not even going to make it to the playoffs. There's the Lakers, Clippers, Nuggets, Warriors, Trailblazers, Jazz, Suns, Rockets, and who am I forgetting?
Wait, what are you talking? What teams are you naming?
Just the teams that are good in the West that could make it to the playoffs. There's the Lakers, Clippers, Nuggets, Rockets.
Warriors?
Warriors, Jazz, Trailblazers, Nuggets. Okay, I just remember that there were 9 teams, and it's just weird though because those 9 teams would normally be like top 5 in their conference if they're that good, and one of them is not even gonna make it to the playoffs, which is crazy to me. The Jazz might not make it to the playoffs this year, even though they're a good team.
Yeah, I'd say, it's crazy to think about also how the East has improved. There's just so many good players in the NBA these days.
Exactly, yeah.
And the East, well, and it's Kevin Durant's coming back, and they got Kyrie.
Yep.
They made some moves this offseason. I like the Nets this year. I think the Nets might make it out of the East.
They definitely have a chance. I think it's between them, the Bucks, and the Celtics. But if I had to choose one team right now, I think I might actually also go with the Nets.
Sorry, I think the Bucks are contender too, but I think you're forgetting the Sixers. Their previous playoff history is not great at all, but they made one of the biggest moves this offseason, and it doesn't even have to do with a player. They signed Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
He's changed so many organizations over the years, including the Celtics and the Clippers, the way they run. So I think the Sixers are a contender this year.
I mean, I like them this year. I just don't have them at the same level. I think it's funny though because their roster probably got worse, but they're probably gonna play better because last year what they did clearly didn't work. So now they're trying to completely change it up, and I think it just might work. They basically have their big Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, and then Harris is that third best player, and then I think it's interesting. They basically have 3 combo guards to surround Ben Simmons with. Seth Curry, Shake Milton, and Tyrese Maxey can all play point guard or shooting guard. So I think it's interesting what they did there.
Yeah, I like Tyrese Maxey. I think he's a good player.
Yeah, I think that he could be in their starting lineup by the end of the year. And a pretty big part of their team also.
Are there any other moves that happened that were huge?
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of moves that happened during the off season, but it looks like we're running out of time, so maybe in our next podcast we can talk more about the NBA offseason and our predictions for what the next season could look like.
Yeah, I just want to throw
Uh-huh.
We forgot to talk about the acquisition of Hayward, and I think that
Right.
was huge. Although he didn't do much, I think he's a really good player.
As a Celtics fan, I was really disappointed that we didn't get Turner because I really wanted that. But I think the Hornets gave him too much. But it will be interesting to see what they can do with him this year.
Yeah, I think the Celtics got too greedy as well.
Yeah, they were offered Turner and McDermott, and I'm just really disappointed in them that they didn't accept that because I think that would have been an amazing. I think Turner would have fit amazingly in Boston.
Yeah, and Hayward would have fit amazingly in Indiana. So.
Yep, it was just really disappointing as a Celtics fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for listening. See you guys next time.